In this video, we are going to see how we can perform the bank book reconciliation using the knowledge that we have gained from the earlier examples. So let's say that this is a big company who normally maintain all of the records in the software like SAP, Oracle, or any other specific software. But in order to make the entries, first of all, they need to check on Excel whether all of these are reconciled or balanced, so that they always make sure that there is no discrepancy when they finally enter it in the software. So let's say that the opening balance in both of these conditions, our books and bank book, at the opening point was balanced, and the balance is 200,000 on each side. So let me put it here as well. And what we want is we want to check our books that whenever we make any kind of payments or we receive anything in our books, which we have recorded as per our records, is it reflected in bank as well or not? So let's say that if the person is completely maintaining the records in Excel, what they will do is whenever they make any entry like payments, they will enter a payment out in our books, but in the bank, they will only enter it when they actually check it in the bank statement and it's reflected properly in the bank statement. After that, they will just mention it in the debit, and that's how they cleared the payment and reconcile both of the transactions. So this is the scenario where they check the physical bank statement and they search for the check number from here, and then they put the relevant amount right in front of the our books record in the bank book, just mention the amount and the clearing date. Now our first requirement in this particular sheet is to calculate our running balance, and that's super simple, although we haven't seen it yet, but it involves a basic logic. How will we calculate it? The running balance means that after every transaction, we should see an updated balance after each entry. So let's say 200,000 was the opening balance. We have entered 100 as a payment, so it should show the remaining balance. Again 100 payment, again 100, again 300 payment. It should automatically update the balance on every single entry, whether it's receipt or a payment. And the formula is very simple. It's equals to opening balance, whatever we have on the top, plus debit, because that increases the balance in our books, minus credit, because that decreases the balance in our books. So this is the running balance right after the next transaction. What we do is we will not fix anything. Why? Let me just show you. If we drag it down, what this will do is instead of picking the opening balance as the balance, the formula will pick the balance right above that. And that's exactly what we want, because we want to see that after the recent running balance, what is the addition and what is the subtraction out of it. So again, this is a payment. It will calculate the remaining balance, and again, it will scroll down to the most recent opening balance plus debit minus credit. So double click to send it down and it will show you the running balance for all of the transactions. So just make sure till the end you see all of the records. And you can do many experiments with this. That's why I have provided you a practical demonstration of the bank book where we have a lot of transactions. Now let's make the balance for the bank book equals to opening balance plus debit minus credit. But do you think this is the right balance? No, because as we can see here, the difference is 199,900 is on our books, and the bank book shows 200,100 but the transaction is same. So why it's showing this difference? That's because the bank balance is recorded in the opposite sequence. 200,000 is the opening balance, and bank balance increases when it's credited and decreases when it's debited. So now both balances match. And again, we don't fix anything, because when we drag down, the recent balance becomes our relevant running balance, and that's what we want to use. Just double click to send it down and we can see the updated results for all. And you will notice that up till a certain point, the balances are exactly matching in both of the records, but after that, there might be discrepancies in future. Like here from row number 770, you started to see some different balances. Here it's 121,940. Here it's 122,146. So this means we need to add one more column that is related to status. Now what is status? We need to simply identify where the discrepancy is, because in lots of balances you won't be able to identify where the discrepancies are starting from or what transactions didn't match. So we want to write a simple formula then that if a particular entry is not shown on the debit side of the bank and the credit side of the books, or on both of the relevant sides, that's in case of, let's say, income, it's not shown on the debit side and credit side, the status should show uncleared. Means if both of the sides are not balanced, the status should be uncleared, otherwise it should be cleared. So this is a simple requirement, and the formula is very simple. We will just simply write if then statements. We will use an if condition, that if this cell means the credit side of our books is equal to debit side of bank book, then the status should show cleared. Let me just zoom it on our right. Then the status should show cleared, otherwise it should be uncleared, right? But this is workable just for the payments because we are matching both of the sides for the payments only. So instead of status, let's change it to payment status. And let's create a same formula, but for receipts status. What will be the formula? Equals to debit should be equals to if the debit on our books is equal to the credit in the bank book, then the status should be cleared. Where you can see this formula is right above the data, which is in the formula bar. Cleared, otherwise it should be uncleared. Hit enter and we can see the results. Now just double click to send it down for both of these, and this will easily help you to identify whatever is not cleared. So we can clearly see that here the payment is made in our records, but it's not mentioned in the bank book records. So maybe it's an error because on the debit and credit side, both sides of our books, we can see this entry. So we can just nullify this entry, or we can find a different solution for it. And also we can try it in any record. Let's say that we entered the payment here, but it's not cleared from bank. So if we remove it from here, we need to see parallel to it that whether in the payment status it is shown as uncleared. Yes, it is showing as uncleared. So that's what we want. And even if it is not fully cleared, that means the amount that we entered in the bank book is 80, still the status will remain uncleared. And that's exactly what we want here. And after that, since the payment status and receipt status are both defined, we want to define a conditional formatting. Let's say that we want that whenever the status is cleared, it should be grayed out. Even if it is a light gray color, we want to gray it out. And that's the practical applications where we will apply the conditional formatting on a practical long data. So let's select the complete data. Just don't include the headings. Select the data only where the status are properly shown. Control Shift left, left, left. Just make sure that we select every single row, and then Control Shift down. Continue down until you see the end point. You might have to enter or press down arrow key many times because there might be some spaces as well in the data. So just go as far as you can. But in the last option, when we are in row number 1085, if we just hold the Control Shift and press down, we go till the end of the row, that is 148,576. We don't want to go that far. What we'll do is we will release the Control key. We'll just keep holding Shift, and up till this point, we will select it like this, row by row. After that, just scroll up from this right area and make sure we see the status clearly. Only then we can apply it without any confusion. Make sure we are in the first rows where the data we started from is sit there. So when we see this, just click on the new rule because we want to define our formula. Use a formula to determine which cells to format. We will select this payment status that needs to be checked for every single row. So we will remove the fixation from the rows and we will keep the column reference as intact, because every time for every complete row, we always want to check the status column from the L column. Equals to, if it is cleared, then it should be shown in what color? Let's say light gray. Click OK and click OK again. And we should be able to see many of them grayed out. Only the uncleared status remained white. But this way, the complete sheet will turn gray because only few of the transactions are uncleared. So let's make the adjustment and make the condition opposite of it. We don't have to delete the condition, we will adjust it. Just go to the Home tab and click on Conditional Formatting and click on Manage Rules. And here we have the cleared status highlighted. And this ones we don't want to use. I don't know why it's applied. Let's delete rest of them. This is what we have applied. Just double click and let's change the status to uncleared. Just write un. Let's remove this, write uncleared. Make sure the spellings are correct. Click OK and apply. And you should be able to see that now whenever the status is uncleared, it's highlighted in gray. Let me just make some changes. Delete a transaction from one side and the status is turned to gray, and not only that, it is showing the payment status as uncleared. So up till this point, I want you to practice on this practical project so that you can easily learn to apply it in the bulk data. And that's where the real skills comes. When you see a large amount of data in Excel, although the method is same, but you might be confused how will you manage all of this data. And that's exactly the case here, where the conditions and all the requirements are pretty much the same that we have covered earlier as well, but only the data is in much quantity. So we need to apply it like this. Just try this by yourself and I will see you in the next one.